Hi everyone, I'm back with my beginners series. I'm going to do a really simple sort of semi-abstract sunset today. So I've got some Saunders Waterford, it's a cotton paper, and this is 1/8 imperial. So I've taken a 1/4 imperial sheet and I've teared it down into 4. So it's a nice, small, manageable size. I'm going to use 2 brushes. I've got a round number 10 and a round number 6. And I've got a little Cotman travel palette that I'm going to use. And I'm going to use cadmium yellow, cadmium red, ultramarine, and a little bit of burnt umber. So only 4 colours. I'm going to start with some nice clean water. I'm going to come about halfway. Make sure you get plenty of water on the paper. I'm using my round number 10. And get a nice coating, no dry patches. So it should look nice and shiny, no puddles really either. Load my brush up with water and I'm going to dip into the cadmium yellow. I'm going to sweep that through in the bottom section. So sort of little smiles. Give my brush a rinse and then load it up with water again. And I'm going to come into the cadmium red. And just sweep this through as well. I'm going to come all the way up to the top with the red. Give my brush a little bit of a rinse. I'm going to dab it off so I haven't got as much water on. And I'm going to come into the ultramarine blue. I just want to create a darker feel at the top. The mixing with the cadmium red is going to make a purpley colour. It works quite nicely for a sunset. This is a really nice, simple sunset. And then if you want a streak of blue, so you load your brush up with blue, and you just streak it in. So you don't mess it, you don't blend it on the paper, you just streak it in and leave it. And you'll get those nice bits of blue. I'm going to swap down to my round number 6 now. If I take some of the ultramarine blue, and a little bit of the cadmium yellow, I'm going to make a nice green. Just going to come in and create a tree. I just want something that's going to silhouette on the horizon. Give a little bit of interest. Take some lower shrubbery just there as well. Rinse my brush out. I'm just going to come into the burnt umber. So this is nice and dark. Really work it so it's nice and thick on the brush. And I can bring that in. That's just giving little bits of dark. If you want it to be even darker, then you've got to mix a bit of ultramarine into it. That'll give a nice sort of silhouette. I'm just going to mix it in here. I'll leave some of the lighter showing as well. So I'm mixing on the paper rather than mixing in the palette. It gives a really nice effect. Just check your edges at the very bottom because that's going to become your foreground edge. This is all still very wet. If you want to go any darker in at the top, then a bit of the burnt umber and ultramarine can come in and give a real sense of drama. So just popping a little bit in. Little smiles. Okay, I'm going to dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry now. I've got a little gap, so it's taking me towards the horizon. I've got a pencil here. I'm going to bring out to one side and out to the other side. So basically from a point here to about 1 centimetre up either side, I'm just going to take that line. And that's going to give me a road or a lane or a footpath that's got a real good sense of perspective and distance. And then what I'm going to do as well is add a nice big puddle. So if you haven't done puddles before, you're going to learn how to do puddles today. So I'm going to stick a nice big puddle in there for us to reflect the colour from the sky. So if I, with my round number 6, come on with a little bit of water, and actually can go further than the puddle. And then I'm going to replicate the colours from the sky. Now can you see here, look, my yellow is no longer yellow, it's green. So I'm just taking that off with a bit of water and rinsing my brush because I want that to still be yellow. And come into the cadmium red. So we're basically mirroring the colours. And I don't want you to worry if they go a bit further than the puddle that we've just drawn in. It doesn't matter because we're going to come over it with darker anyway. So we're going to have a little bit of the lighter colour, a little bit of the cadmium red, a little bit of the ultramarine blue. So they're all blending together. In fact, it doesn't look that purple, so I'm going to take a bit more in. I can take a little dash of the blue. I'm not going to take the dark in. I basically want to replicate the colours from the sky, but not the very dark. So we're going to use the very dark around there. So I'm going to swap now to my round number 10 and take some water on this side. I'm going to do both sides very similar. Take a little bit of the cadmium yellow in first of all. And then I want plenty of this green. We're going to go nice and dark. Because it's sunset, it's getting dark. You can leave a little bit of light towards the back, that's usually quite nice. I'm going to dip into the ultramarine blue and bring some of that stronger into this front section. And I'm going to do exactly the same this side. So a little bit of water, a little bit of the cadmium yellow, there's a gap in between these so that this is still wet, but I'm not touching it, so it's fine. It won't blend through. Then this green, if you haven't got enough, make a bit more up. Don't skimp on the paint. then a little bit of the ultramarine blue just in that front section. Okay, so I'm going to dry that off. Okay, so that's nicely dry, so we've just got this pathway to do now. So I'm going to wet what's left white, come around the puddle, I'm going to start with a cadmium yellow, just get some of this in. So I'm using my round number 10, but if you are more comfortable with a 6, swap down to a 6. I'm going to come into the burnt umber. So can you see I'm doing little horizontal strokes? Start to get this path surface in. I'm going to swap down to a number 6 now. I want to come around the puddle a little bit. And I'm going to stroke it outwards. Try and get to these white areas. Just having a nice smooth edge on the puddle is what will work really nicely. So if you get any bits that start to watermark, just come back through with a little bit more paint on the bit that's drying, and that will work. Okay, I want a nice dark colour now, so I'm going to use a bit of the ultramarine and burnt umber together. See, I'm just coming around the edge. So this is all still wet. I'm just getting a nice edge now on this puddle. So I'm pretty much losing the edge that I've drawn and creating a new edge, which is absolutely fine. And then I'm going to stroke outwards. My brush has got a little bit of this grey-black on. That stroking outwards is just going to make it part of the surface. I can just bring a little bit through horizontally. So it's really simple to get a really lovely puddle. You can bring a little bit more shadow down the edges of your grassy banks as well. I'm using that dark for this again. And then just again pull it out a little bit. So it's that horizontal stroke that makes all the difference on the surface of the path. Okay, I'll dry that off. There we go, that's done for you. So it's all about creating simple pictures that just introduce a couple of techniques to you that are a manageable size, and it gets you to practice and play and learn what these techniques are, what your paints do, what those 2 brushes do, how you can mix colours. So I really hope you're enjoying this beginners series. If you are, please do like, subscribe and share. Please do look at the playlist because there's lots and lots of videos. I've got over 300 videos now. So some are more in-depth than others, but there are lots and lots in the beginners section. So please delve in and have a look at those.